Hello and welcome to the Microsoft Leap Apprenticeship webinar. We are so excited that you are here with us. Now, in a little bit, you will have the opportunity to hear from a few leapers. You will also have a significant amount of time. I'm actually going to probably go through these slides pretty quickly because I want to ensure that we have plenty of time to go over any questions that you may have. I do see in the chat that there are already questions, so I know that you all are eager to get those questions answered, and we will do our best to try to get to as many questions as possible. All right, so here you are looking at the agenda, as I mentioned, because hopefully you're on this call and you have attended one of our former sessions. If not, I will do my best to be as detailed as possible, but in a very quick amount of time to go over our program for you. And then, of course, we're going to get into some Q&A. So really quickly, this is me. I am Nicole Young. I'm a business program manager with Microsoft Leap. I am a career transformer. You'll learn a little bit later as to what that means and why here at Microsoft Leap, we love our career transformers. In this photo at the top here, this is me here in Redmond. Just started out, I was a vendor, a contractor, and this is actually the day I made that pivot into the tech industry. And then here's when I converted to become a full-time employee. And then right here to your left, you'll see me in Atlanta, Georgia. This is where I am based. I moved to Atlanta about 2 years ago, but today I am calling in from the very cloudy, very rainy Redmond, Washington. And in the chat, if you want to put where you're from, I would love to see it, whether maybe you're from Redmond or Seattle, or even if you're from Atlanta, would love to kind of see where everyone is calling in today. All right, so what is Microsoft Leap? So we are a global program designed to accelerate job readiness for high-tech careers, okay? And I always like to kind of follow up with the mission at Microsoft, right? So if you're familiar with Microsoft, you know that our mission is to empower every person and every organization on the planet to achieve more. And I really like to emphasize that every person for the purposes of this apprenticeship, because we cannot have a successful company, right? Unless we have so many different people at the table, right? Different backgrounds, different thought processes, right? Diverse in mindset, skill set, all of the things, right? We really want you here at Microsoft to help grow our company and help kind of push us to more success, right? All right, so at Microsoft Leap, there are 3 pillars that I'm going to talk to you about and kind of the 3 key things that we offer you when you come through our program. So the first is I'll talk about our professional skills, right? When you come through our program as an apprentice, you learn from the best to do it, right? So this particular cohort is an engineering cohort for software engineers. So that means that you're going to learn from the best software engineers in the field here at Microsoft, right? You will be giving a real project. And during that project, you're going to learn directly from these individuals. What is also awesome about our program is we recognize that imposter syndrome is real, right? So in the chat, if you want to put, if you know what imposter syndrome is and maybe you've gone through it yourself, go ahead and put that in the chat because I'm sure it will resonate with a lot of you on the call today. I know it resonates with me. I go through it all the time, right? Like, oh my goodness, what am I doing? Am I doing this right? Those kind of things, right? We recognize that it's real. So what we offer to kind of help mitigate and decrease any feelings or symptoms of imposter syndrome is we offer mentorship, right? So you get that one-on-one coaching from a Microsoft professional, right? This is someone who is there to help guide you. You can ask questions to. Sometimes, maybe even you just need to vent, right? They can help you navigate through blockers. And really, the ultimate goal here is they really want to boost your confidence, right? And just remind you that, hey, you deserve to be here. This was not by accident. We didn't make a mistake. Like we picked you and we want you here, right? So, how can we support you in your growth and development? And then the last piece here that we will offer you is a community and network, right? So I really love this piece. This is kind of what makes our program unique, right? We have this amazing network of LEAP advocates and LEAP alums who are here to support you, and you can learn from them as well. Specifically, our LEAP alums, they've gone through the program, right? They have faced those challenges, all the things that have arisen, they went through it, right? And so they're here to provide you kind of the secret sauce or those golden nuggets so that you yourself don't have to go through some of the challenges that they went through, right? And when I tell you our leapers are so invested in the incoming wave of leapers, they love the opportunity to support because they get it, right? They've gone through it, and they want to do all that they can do to ensure that the next wave doesn't have to go through the same challenges, right? And that they feel supported and that they feel connected, right? So they are there to empower you as well. We have a very extensive and very strong community and network here. All right, so earlier I talked about the career transformer, right? So that is one of the typical profiles or common profiles, rather, excuse me, that we see come through our program, right? So I'll start here. We have a career relauncher, right? So the career relauncher is someone who perhaps worked in this field before for the purposes of this presentation, let's say software engineer, right? They were in engineering before and life happened, right? Whether that be it was a parent or, a situation occurred that they needed to kind of step away from work or they were just unable to work, right? We just went through a pandemic, perhaps you need to take care of a family member or a friend or something of that nature, right? And you're looking to return back into the workforce. This is a perfect program for you as you look to return to the workforce, right? We recognize that sometimes life does happen and you have a work gap. We don't frown upon that, right? We celebrate it, if you will, right? So that's the career relauncher. Now, the career transformer, for those of you on the call who have perhaps, worked in, maybe you're a dentist or a dental assistant or LPN, a CNA, truck driver, any of those things, right? Any non-engineering field, and you're looking to make a career pivot, right? This is a perfect program for you. Now, when I say career transformer, we're not looking for the individual who maybe you were, let's say, just for example, you were a teacher and you were like, hey, I want to become a software engineer. Let me apply to this program. What we're looking for is you're a teacher, but you went back to school, right? Or maybe you went and self-taught. Maybe you learned on YouTube how to code, or you picked up a few books and learned how to code that way. Or maybe a friend taught you. Perhaps you're on the call today and you graduated from a coding academy or boot camp. Or perhaps you attended a community college and you received your associate's degree, right? This is a perfect next step for you. So when we talk about our career transformers and our community college graduates, we would love to have you come to the program. I just want to relay that, we really want to make sure that you know how to code, right? So whether, again, you're self-taught, you did some classroom time, whatever it is, this is a perfect kind of next step for you as you have completed your certifications and or your degree, okay? And we get a lot of questions about that. So fear not, we will get into that a little bit later. So let's talk about the timeline and model. So this is a 16-week paid program. It is virtual. Okay, so you can see here at the core, the first 4 weeks, you're in a classroom ramping up on tools and fundamentals related to software engineering. You'll have some workshops and some classroom time led by an instructor, a real instructor. You'll have some group projects, right? This is kind of just practice, if you will, right? Now, before you enter the classroom, you should already have the basic fundamentals of coding, right? So you already should have that foundation laid. We're going to come on and we're going to build upon that foundation furthermore. Once your 4 weeks have concluded, you will then spend 12 weeks in your actual apprenticeship. So this is a real engineering project here at Microsoft with a real engineering team. 12 weeks. Now, again, you are paid through and through. You're paid for your time in the classroom. You're paid for your time in the program. It's the same pay rate. I oftentimes get questions about what that amount is. I am unable to share that as I don't know, right? But it is very competitive to say an entry-level software engineer in the job market, okay? So once your 12 weeks have concluded of your apprenticeship, you then may convert to become a full-time employee at Microsoft, okay? It's a potential. Now, we have a 98% employability rate. Of that 98%, about 68 to 70% convert to become full-time employees at Microsoft, right? But think about it, 98% employability rate. So whether you stay with us or you may go to one of our competitors, this is a win for you, right? And a win for us. All righty, so if you're on the call today and you weren't aware, our application portal is officially open. Yes. So you will have until about October 5th to fill out and submit your application. If you started the application today and maybe you wanted to wait until this presentation to submit, you're more than welcome to do that. And maybe you want to sit and think about it. As long as you get your application submitted by October 5th, you will be good to go, okay? And then interviews will happen about a month later. If you are invited to interview, you will do this, and this will be virtual. You will be expected to show your coding skills. Okay, so you will have some whiteboarding, you will be working through some problems, there will be some situational questions, etc. Right? So think about those things. Now, this is not a Microsoft sponsored tool, but this is just a tool that our Leapers have found useful. This is a great opportunity for you to utilize online resources like YouTube also has some how to interview at Microsoft videos for you that have been put on by our ERGs at Microsoft. So I definitely recommend you go on our the YouTube page and find that. Another non-Microsoft sponsored tool is Prant.com. A lot of our Leapers have found that to be useful. And then there is also a book called Cracking the Code, which our Leapers have found useful as well. Okay, we get a lot of questions about the interview. So just wanted to offer you some non-Microsoft sponsored tools that our Leapers have found helpful. All right, so after you've interviewed, you will then hopefully be selected for our program, and then our program will start in January. Okay, we're going to get into some qualifications here. We're going to talk about the pathway a little bit, and then we will hear from our awesome LEAP alums who are going to share their LEAP story with you, and you'll be able to ask them some questions as well. So we are looking for software engineers, okay? So this is a software engineering cohort. What does that mean? Yes, you will need the skill of coding, okay? Does that mean that there is one particular coding language that we're looking for? No, we are not looking for a specific coding language. We just need to know that you understand what it means to code, that you know how to code, that you have proof of your coding abilities, right? So this is, again, where I really encourage you, to look at your GitHub, because we will be looking at that GitHub very intentionally. And we're going to look at it, look for links, and we hope that those links work. If there are projects that you worked on, provide that. Screenshots are helpful on how to access links, etc. Right? So we really want to understand your coding ability. During this cohort, you may be asked to do some designing, some testing, some analyzing. It really just depends on your team. And again, this is why I stress that the coding language does not matter, because Microsoft is a huge company with a lot of engineering teams, right? So your friend who is in the cohort may go to one team and be using Java, and then you yourself may be using SQL or Python, right? So it really does not matter. We just need to know that you know how to code, okay? And this is not a fake it till you make it situation, right? We are going to have to assess, right? And look at that. Now, with that being said, we don't expect you to know it all, right? This is an entry level pathway. This is an entry level apprenticeship. You know, this is, again, as I mentioned, this is the next step for you, right? As you graduated, right? So I don't want you feeling like you need to know it all. This is a learning apprenticeship. You're going to learn, we're going to develop you, right? But do you just have the basic fundamentals, right? Do you have enough that we can build upon? Are you teachable? Think about those things. For those of you on the call who are making a career pivot, think about your transferable skills, right? So here at Microsoft, we're really big on accessibility. We're really big on, we're customer obsessed, right? And we're really big in, the ability to work cross-functionally, right? So the example that I like to use is, let's say you are a social worker for, the disability department, for a county. You work with, hospitals, you work with, doctors, nurses, you work with family members, so that's a transferable skill that we love to see, right? Think about timelines. How do you work under pressure? How do you go above and beyond what the customer is asking? Do you ask questions, right? Are you a doer, or are you like a thinker, right? Or how analytical are you, right? So think about, the project in itself, but think about the needs holistically, right? And I guarantee you, if you're someone making a career pivot, you probably have those skills, right? So it's just on how you're communicating and presenting those transferable skills. Think about those things. Another big thing that I want to talk about is your certification. If you're not self-taught, and you did go the community college or the coding academy route, are you finished, right? Did you complete your certifications? We really want to see that, because this program is for those individuals that are completed with their certifications. We get a lot of questions about, hey, I'm still in my studies right now, and I have my bachelor, or I'm pursuing a bachelor's in computer science, or I have my master's in computer science. Again, this is an apprenticeship, not an internship. So this is the program designed for non-traditional candidates, right? So we're looking at community college graduates, self-taught individuals. We're looking at our coding certifications. If you're on the call today and you have a master's in computer science or a bachelor's, like you're a recent grad, we highly, highly, highly recommend that you apply to our internships at Microsoft on the Microsoft career site, because that program is more suited for your skill set, okay? This is an apprenticeship designed for the non-traditional person, right? So think about that as you can consider our program. Okay, so with that, we are going to hear from some fantastic LEAP alums. Let's see, do we have them on the call? Yes. Amelia, hi. Are you here with us?
Yes, I actually just joined, so give me 1 second.
Hello.
Hi, can you hear me?
Oh, Amelia, it looks like you are on mute.
Yeah, can you hear me now?
Hi, Nicole.
All right, let's see here. Okay, I can see you. Hi. But I cannot hear you.
Yeah, so I think, Hunter, I just heard you talking. Can you hear me, Hunter?
Yeah, I can hear you too.
Okay.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
No, we can hear you, but I don't think you can hear us.
Yes, I cannot hear you. Okay. Well, I think for the purposes of time, we'll just move on, and then we'll work out what is going on with the sound on your end. How about that? Does that sound good? Okay, great. And I think we also have Hunter joining us as well.
Yes,
So in the interim, Hunter, let's check your microphone. Can you speak for me?
Yep. Test 1, 2, 3.
It's the oddest thing. Okay, go ahead and unmute yourself.
Test 1, 2, 3, 3, 2, 1.
Huh. Okay, so it could just be me. For some reason, I cannot hear you. But for those of you tuning in, if you cannot hear Hunter or Amelia, please just go ahead and put that in the chat, and we will get it fixed, but it might just be me. So in the interim, Amelia, since you joined first, would love to hear your LEAP story and kind of how you learned about the program, if you will. And how many times did you apply before you got in? And I'll just do my best to read your lips. Hopefully those tuning in can hear.
I wonder,
All right.
Lizette, can you hear us also?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay, good. So how did I hear about LEAP? I actually heard about it through a friend that I had connected with through Women Who Code, and she had gone through Microsoft LEAP before, and she had said it was such a great experience, and it really just opened the door for her for so many different opportunities. So she encouraged me to apply, and I did. And I think I got lucky maybe, but I only applied once and got in, and was offered a position at the end. Well, offered an interview that led to a position. But yeah, I guess, are we supposed to be sharing a little bit about our experience, or Nicole, I know you can't hear us. Lizette, maybe you can answer that?
Yes, go ahead, Amelia. That would be great.
Okay.
Okay, great. So thank you so much for that, Amelia. Hunter, would you like to share your LEAP story and kind of how you learned about LEAP?
Sure. I heard about LEAP on LinkedIn, actually. I applied just one time. I got pretty lucky myself too, I think. And the experience of LEAP was a pretty great experience, 4-month apprenticeship, and learned a lot during the apprenticeship. Lizette, I think Nicole can only hear you.
Nicole, can you hear me? No, I don't think she can. All right, thank you so much, Hunter. I am so sorry. It's so weird. I cannot hear anything that you guys are saying. I could hear the music that was playing earlier, though, but it's like my speakers are not working for whatever reason. I'm going to test out some things here. All right, so here we go. All right, Hunter, can you speak for me?
Yes, can you hear me?
Okay, yes, yep, I had to, yeah, okay. We're now down to one screen, but we're gonna make this work. So I have a few questions in the chat for us. So let's see. Just to kind of summarize a few of these questions, Hunter or Amelia, or both of you, what advice would you give someone as, they think about applying into the LEAP program? What do you think is useful in standing out as a candidate, right? As we do have a lot of interest in this role. What kind of advice would you give?
You can go first, Amelia, if you want.
Thanks. I think advice I would give is really just try to convey why you're interested in this opportunity and what skills you bring from your previous career or whatever you've done in the past, because I think it's really important to show that you're coming into this new industry, but you have transferable skills that are very useful. So I think that's really helpful.
Yeah. I love that emphasis on the transferable skills. Yes, I cannot stress it enough.
I think one thing that really helped me in the application process that I didn't really think I understood that helped me is displaying a growth mindset. So I know in my interviews, I talked a lot about the failures I've had and about just trying to overcome those and showing up every day and failing over and over again. And I think they actually really liked that. And it's one of the reasons I think I was able to transfer from an apprentice to a FTE, just willing to fail. So.
Yeah, I love that. I'm seeing some questions here about imposter syndrome. So, Amelia or Hunter, do you ever go through it? And if you do, how do you navigate through that?
Hunter, you can go first for this one.
Yeah, definitely have experienced imposter syndrome. You know, that being said, you are starting as, you know, an entry level apprentice, right? I mean, I guess that's under entry level, right? So there's just a lot to learn when you first start. Not even just about programming itself, but the whole development of software in general is a lot more broad than I realized. And so you just, let me think about what I'm trying to say here for a second. So you're just going to be learning a lot, and it's going to feel very overwhelming. And you just have to know that it will end eventually, that feeling of being overwhelmed. But it does end, and the job's pretty great.
Yes, that's right. That's right. Amelia, did you want to answer? Or I can move on to the next question, of course.
I can add to it a little bit. I think it's maybe one of those things where you don't realize how much you don't know until you start learning more and more, and then you realize there's so much more that you didn't know. And so I think it's really easy to get overwhelmed at first. I'm definitely still overwhelmed sometimes, but I think it's a good reminder that, like Hunter said, you know, you're coming into this industry, you're very new, and people understand that. So I think people are expecting you to have a lot of questions and to not really fully understand what you're doing for a little bit. So give yourself some grace there.
Yeah, I love it. So, you know, as we kind of approach, well, we're already accepting applications, right? It's exciting. We get a lot of questions about the interview process, right? And both of you have gone through that process. So without sharing all of the details, obviously, what advice can you offer in maybe how to prepare for an interview here at Microsoft? Or perhaps, you know, what kind of led to your success in successfully completing the interview and getting accepted into the program?
I can start. Funny enough, this is the only job that accepted me. I failed a ton of interviews before this. So I'd say, you know, if you're not failing interviews yet, you know, you should start doing that. Learning from those experiences, and you should definitely be practicing data structures and algorithms because they're going to ask you that. So
I love it.
I can add on to this. I think what really helped me in the interview was really just explaining the process that I was following the entire time and what I was thinking the next steps were going to be. And also, you know, before the interview, really practicing DSA with leak code. I think that was super helpful, and time boxing everything you're doing. Yeah.
Love it. Yeah, I definitely have heard that leak code has been helpful from former leapers and other SWE individuals. So I definitely +1 on that. Alrighty. Well, with that, we can go ahead and move on to the next slide. And we are going to now open it up for our questions here. The next slide. Yep. So again, you can follow us on our social media sites. We're on LinkedIn, we're on Meta, Twitter. If there are questions that we could not get to here on this call today, we welcome you to email us, but we're going to try and do as much as we can do to get all of your questions answered. So as I mentioned, I'm looking at the chat here. I'm seeing questions about the programming language. We don't have a set language, right? We just want you to be proficient in a few. And have a few under your belt is helpful. But, whatever you're not proficient in that we need you to be, we will help and upskill you. Also, this program is for the non-traditional person. I'm seeing questions here about, I'm still in school and I'm in my bachelor's degree. So again, this is for community college graduates. I do see questions about the amount of times that you can apply into the program. You can apply as many times. If you don't get in this round, you're more than welcome to apply during the next iteration of our application cycle. So do not fret. There are questions about relocation. This is a virtual opportunity, right? So you can do this from the comfort of your home. You do not have to move. If you are converted to become a full-time employee, that discussion of relocation permanently will be a discussion between you and your manager, right? But for the purposes of this apprenticeship, it is virtual, right? So there's no need for you to relocate, okay? We do accept referrals now for this cohort. This is our first time receiving or accepting referrals. So if you do know someone at Microsoft and they know your work experience and they've worked with you before, yes, you can have them refer you, okay? And we can go ahead and go to the next slide so we can look at the cohort at a glance. This is for software engineers, okay? So I see some questions here about other roles. If you are a follower of Microsoft Leap, first of all, thank you. Definitely appreciate you for following us, but this, so you know that we have other pathways, right? We've had UX design, technical program manager, the list goes on, but this particular cohort is for software engineers. Okay. I don't see the slides, but I'm sure they will reload momentarily. So with that, I will again continue asking questions. The career relauncher category, is it only for those who worked as a software engineer or also other technical positions? So here's how I like to answer this, right? So when you look at the application and you see the software engineer pathway, what I really want you to focus on is, do my skills align with what they're looking for, right? So perhaps, you've worked in a different role, but it's somehow aligned with software engineer and you know how to code, you have the skill set that we're looking for. We definitely encourage you to apply, okay? So it doesn't necessarily have to be a software engineer in title, maybe it's software developer. I mean, there's so many names, but, we do want to see that you have the relevant skills. Now, this is entry level, so we are looking for individuals who have less than 3 years of experience, okay? So we're looking for 0 all the way up to 3 years of experience. This is a United States-based cohort, so it is important that you are already authorized to work in the United States, as we cannot at this time offer any sponsorship, okay? And if you are self-taught on the call, we're looking for at least about 6 months of projects or professional experience. And we, really want to emphasize projects or professional experience. So it doesn't need to be work experience, right? It could be that you had a personal project that you worked on, or maybe you did some volunteer work. We just need to be able to look at your GitHub resume and see that information, right? So whatever links you have or the projects that you have, we need to be able to see your coding ability. I'm going to actually take a pause here as I go through these questions because I want to recognize our 2 LEAP alums on the call, Amelia and Hunter. I just really want to thank them for their time. If, of course, you have questions directly for them, this is the perfect time for you to ask that. They are both very, very busy. So again, I'm just very, very glad, especially at the end of the day, that they are giving their time to you all and me as well, helping me with this presentation. Then I also want to give a shout out to my fabulous coworker, Lizette, who is on the call today. She had to take over and do some presenting of the slides. She's kind of multitasking right now. She's trying to get some of your other questions answered as well as doing the slide deck for me. So I definitely appreciate her. Here at Microsoft, we're flexible. We gotta pivot sometimes, and so it really just showcases her pivoting abilities. So thank you so much, Lizette, for helping me today. All right, so I see a question about the referral process. Yes. So what will happen is that your referrer will go onto the Microsoft career site, and they will access the link for this job rec, which is the Microsoft Leap Apprenticeship. They will click on that link, and then it will have a refer a person link on the application. They will click on that link, and then they will put in all of your information, your email, etc. And then you will receive an email from Microsoft Careers asking you to apply for said role, okay? And then once you apply to the role, it will be submitted, and then we will, of course, review your application, right? So very, very simple. It's a refer someone on the Microsoft page on the job rec, okay? And then so you just want to look out for that email and just make sure you're communicating with them that they actually did refer you. You should receive an email, okay? And yes, the application is already open. It will close on October 5th. I think I answered the question already about how many times you can apply. We look at every application, right? So for those of you who maybe don't have anyone to refer you, do not fret. We're going to look at every application equally, okay? So this is an inclusive environment, so please do not fret if you don't have anyone to refer you. My name is Janelle. I'm a recent grad student in business analytics from UT Arlington. I'm based in Dallas, Texas. I'm very much excited and interested in the Microsoft Leap program management opportunity. Okay, yes, so I did touch on that we do have other pathways. This program is for software engineering. We encourage you to follow us on our social media sites for other opportunities outside of software engineering, right? We're gonna post about other opportunities on our social media sites, so you will be the first to know as long as you're a follower. Are Canadians eligible to apply for this cohort? Great question. So again, we just need you to be authorized to work in the United States, right? That's all we're looking for, is that you're authorized to work in the United States of America. That's all we're looking for. And then yes, the application portal did already open. It opened like about a few hours ago. So if you want to apply right after this presentation today, you are more than welcome to do so. Okay. All righty. So again, if you have any questions for our alums, please feel free to ask. I'm not seeing any additional. I do see a question here about whether or not someone can save their application and go back. Yes, you can save your application and go back to it at a later time. Just make sure that you, of course, submit your application before the October 5th deadline, okay? And there's quite a bit of questions about the referrals. I love that you guys are all excited about the referrals. That's great. This is our first time doing it. So again, it is in the application. The person referring you on the microsite of the house will be able to see it. So just tell them to go directly to that link and they will see it. So super easy. You can't miss it. All right. And if I had the ability to share my screen, which right now I don't, I could, well, I'll try for the purposes of this call, so I can show you, and maybe you guys can take a screenshot, because I do see that there's a lot of excitement about that. So let me see if I can help a little bit. How about that? So while I do this, Hunter or Amelia, any final words or words of encouragement that you may want to offer to our participants on the call today? And by the way, we have over 700 on the call. So yeah, you guys are excited. I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it. Anything that you would offer?
Yeah. One thing I saw one question I can answer real quick. They asked if it's a full stack engineering program or back end or front end. And it really just depends on what team you get put on. Whatever work they're working on is the work you will be working on. So, but I just want to say, make sure you apply. Even if you don't think your application is good enough, or you're worried about your resume or something like that, you just can't get accepted if you don't apply. So make sure to apply.
I love that. Thank you so much, Hunter, for that reminder. Yes, you just never know. Put your name in the hat is what I always say. I love it. Amelia?
Yeah, I guess like in line with applying, I know in the past there's been some issues with applying because I don't know if it's the same this time, but the application used to close in like UTC time. And so there was a lot of confusion with that. So just be really careful if that is the case this time. Just make sure you try to get your application in like a day early. Just don't wait till the last minute to do it, because it would be really sad if you miss the window.
Yes.
Yeah.
Great. Thank you so much for that, Amelia. Yeah, don't wait until the last minute, right? The application closes on October 5th. So yeah, just be mindful of that. Set your alarms. Okay. So I'm just going to show this really, really fast here. So as you can see right here, we have refer someone, okay? It's right on the application. You don't see this on your end because, it's a Microsoft internal thing. So tell them it's at the top of the page, refer someone, okay? They can't miss it. It's a little plus with the little person emoji situation. So that's what they'll do. And then they will fill out all the information, and then it will email you. And then you will click on that link and submit your application. Okay. So I hope that answered the question. Again, as a reminder, you will not see this on your end because it's a Microsoft internal situation. So there's that. Okay. Lizette, if you want to throw the slides back up there. Yeah, that would be great. But other than that, let me see if there are any other big questions. At which stage of the application process will I have to provide a bootcamp certificate to be considered a qualified candidate? So you will want to have that on your actual application. Like when you go in to submit your application, we will be looking at your certifications. We will be looking at your LinkedIn's, your GitHubs. We will be looking at all of that information. So yeah, you want to make sure that you have your certification, that you have if it's a degree, whatever it is, right? And if you are self-taught on the call, we want to see what projects that you have worked on. And even for those of you who perhaps are not self-taught, we want to see, what were you doing after you finished, your learnings, right? What projects did you take on? How did you develop your skills furthermore on your own, right? So that's another kind of golden nugget for you as you, think about your application here. All righty. So let me see. I'm seeing a lot of excitement. Oh, okay. There's another question here about the essay question. So yes, for the first time ever, there will no longer be essay questions on our application. So no more essay prompts or interview questions on the application. So if you have applied before, you probably remember those 2 essay questions. Those are no more, right? So you don't have to worry about that. We really want to understand your work, right? What are in your learnings and those kind of things, right? So no more essay questions. Are we looking for people who have extraordinary projects on their profile? Well, I mean, I just feel like that, it's not really, we're just looking for, do you have the projects, right? That's what we're looking for. Do you have relevant projects and a relevant skill set? Okay. And yes, of course, this program has been a program for over 8 years, almost 10. So yes, there will be another cohort, right? So please be on the lookout for that. Stay tuned. And again, follow us on social media for those upcoming opportunities. Are there particular technologies that LEAP hiring managers prioritize when evaluating applicants? Okay, this is a great question. Thank you so much for asking. So here's how I like to answer this question, right? So as you are probably aware, we have a really big cloud computing service here called Microsoft Azure, right? So if you're familiar with Azure or any other cloud computing services, maybe you're familiar with AWS. It's a bonus. It's not a necessity, but it is a bonus, right? So for those of you on the call, you're familiar with cloud computing and you have that under your belt, it would behoove you to add it on your resume, right? What experience do you have? How much experience do you have with it? That would help. Another kind of hot topic right now is AI, right? It's huge. So if you have any experience with AI, building AI, working with it, please, please, please add that on your resume, your GitHubs, your LinkedIns. We would love to see it. And I'm saying all of these things as good to have, right? It's nice. It's a nice to have. It's not a requirement. If you don't see it here, it's not a requirement, but it definitely will help you be a extraordinary, just using that word, candidate, right? So just something to think about and consider. Okay. And I just want to say, for those of you who did ask questions, thank you so much. I love getting questions. I really, really do, because it lets me know that you were engaged and that you enjoyed the program. All right, so I see a program here. I don't know what an H4 EAD is, so if you want to break that down. Amelia or Hunter, do you know what that is? And what is that a technical term? H4 EAD? No?
I'm not familiar with that.
Not familiar, yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
I'm not familiar with that either.
Okay, so I don't know what that is, but it looks like you had a 1.5-year career break with prior experience as a software engineer. So yeah, you have that career break. We definitely encourage you to apply, but I don't know what an H4 EAD is. So if you want to break that down for me, that would be great, so I can properly answer your question. All right, I'm going to go back over here to the published. Okay. And thank you for calling that out. So I am seeing that some of you are saying there's not an option to add your GitHub profile when submitting the application. So thank you for calling that out. I will work internally to see what has happened there. But thank you so much for calling that out. In the interim, though, just in the event that we are not reviewing GitHubs this go around, it is still very helpful and useful to make sure that your LinkedIns are updated, because I can assure you, we will be looking at your LinkedIn. So oftentimes I know that some of us kind of neglect our LinkedIn, we're kind of in the role. So just make sure that you're keeping that up to date. And you, of course, can put your links there as well. Make sure that those links are accessible, that, they're public and that we can assess them. But yes, keep in the interim, just, we can use the LinkedIn as a place for you to input your projects and whatnot. But thank you for bringing this to our attention. And this is the first time where we've hosted a webinar while the application is live. So it's great to kind of see what's going on here. Thank you so much for bringing that to our attention. Alrighty. Oh, yes. Okay, great. So in the interim, you can put a link to your GitHub on your resume or on your LinkedIn as well, right? So that will help us, be able to review your GitHub as a bonus. So again, I'll repeat it. Because you are unable to upload your GitHub, please put a link to your GitHub repository on your LinkedIn and or on your resume. All right. And again, as a reminder, I'm seeing questions about when the application opens. It is open. Yes, it is finally open. We waited so long, right? It's open. All right, so we have about 10 minutes left, just doing a time check here. If there are any other pressing questions that you may have, please feel free to ask them. Again, as a reminder, this is a software engineering cohort. The application portal did open today, and it will close on October 2nd. This cohort will start on January 16th and will end on May 3rd. Okay, so January 16th to May 3rd, it's about 4 months. Now, oftentimes we get questions about the schedule, right? Can I work another job while I'm doing this? I mean, we're definitely not going to tell you that you can't, but I am going to encourage you to really think about what you want to get from this opportunity, right? And what you want to give to this opportunity. So it's 5 days a week, about 8-hour days, right? And you're learning the entire time, right? So just consider that, because you don't want to miss it. You don't want to miss, something. This is like a very rare opportunity. And we really encourage you to, not just give it your all, but get all of it, right? So you're learning from the best to do it. You now have access to the Microsoft network. So, think about that as you're considering on applying, that this is essentially a full-time job, right? It's 8-hour days. So do think about that. 5 days a week. So it's kind of like you could say it's a normal kind of 9 to 5, if you will, right? Monday through Friday. Think about that. From January to May. We are going to be looking to see whether or not you're still enrolled in school, just as a reminder, right? So think about, okay, I'm, quarter 2 into my studies right now. This sounds like a great opportunity. I would love for this to be, my next step, but I'm still in school, right? But that's okay, because there will be another opportunity for me to apply, right? So do think about that. We're looking for individuals who are ready to go, ready to take the next leap, if you will, into their career. So do consider that. All righty. For all of you who are saying thank you in the chat, I just want to thank you, right, for attending, asking your questions, and putting in the work, right? Taking the time to learn, perfect your craft. For those of you who are self-taught, that's challenging, right? I can't imagine being self-taught myself, right? I can't imagine teaching myself how to code, nonetheless. I mean, that's quite the skill. So, really just pat yourself on the back and be proud of yourself for the work and the time that you took, especially in the midst of everything going on in this world, right? So really be proud of yourself for that. And for those of you who are returning to the workforce, right? It feels new, it's just like, whoa, like everything's changing so rapidly, and you probably feel overwhelmed and how do I get caught up, right? But you're kind of taking a leap as well. You're taking a leap of faith, if you will, and you're wanting to learn again or relearn, reskill, right? So give yourself a pat on the back, right? Be proud of yourself. And for those of you who are making a career pivot and deciding, you know what? I don't like what I'm doing, or maybe I'm just ready for something new, right? I want to grow. And you decided to go back to school, right? Or teach yourself. That, as someone who also made a career pivot, I celebrate you. And you too should be proud of yourself. Give yourself a pat on the back. And for all of you on the call, we definitely hope to see you come through our program. And we wish you all of the success and all of the luck. And I hope that as you apply, you feel confident, right? You feel confident that you have the skills and that you're ready for this next step in your career. All right, so we're going to be closing out here. I am going to stay on for the duration of our apprenticeship, our call today. But Amelia and Hunter, if you want to jump, I completely understand. I know it's end of day for you. Thank you so much for joining the call. I definitely do appreciate you. And I know that our over 700 attendees appreciated you as well. So thank you.
I'm happy to stay on for the last little bit.
Oh, thanks, Hunter.
I'm also happy to stay on. I've been answering a couple questions in the chat. So
awesome.
If you guys have any other ones that are like specific to our experiences, I know I see Hunter in there answering too.
Yay, thank you to the both of you. Okay, so for those of you listening in, you see how amazing our Leapers are. This is what I'm talking about, that community, right? They really are invested in you and your success. So shout out to them. All right, so I see the published questions. I've already answered those. Okay. And then I see a few of you have questions about the chat. So there's not a chat, it's a Q&A. So if you have any questions, go ahead and head to, it's like a question mark with the bubble. Go there and then you can ask your questions. And I hope that helps. All right, so there's a question about, will there be another SWE cohort to apply to this year? So definitely stay tuned, watch our social media sites, anything could change. As soon as we know, we post, right? So you hear about it live, real time. But for now, right now, what we are offering is our software engineering cohort that, of course, is always, is subject to change. But for the time being, we just have this cohort for the January for software engineers, okay? Do we need to get referred first, then apply? Or can I apply? So I encourage you to, if you do have someone who is referring you, please go ahead and message them, send them the application link, and kindly ask them to refer you, because what will happen is that link, that it's a special link that's sent to you as a referral. So you would want to apply using that link. But if you're not hearing from them, regardless, please get your application submitted before October 2nd. Okay, so don't wait too long. So I hope that helps. All right. And I'm going to do some shout outs while other questions load. So I see we have Coding Dojo on the call. We have Perscalas. We have Western, Syracuse, Full Stacks on the call. Nice. Rice is on the call. I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it. I love to see all of you. All righty. So yes, I see this question again, and thank you, Lizette, for answering, and I'll just answer it here. So there's no preferential treatment that we give ever, right? We're going to review every application. So I know some of you are just like, oh, I don't have anyone to refer me. Please do not worry about that. It's just a new a new bonus that we're adding to our application, right? But it's not anything that's going to give anyone a leg up, okay? So every application will be reviewed, okay? Just want to make that very, very clear. All right. What kind of hours can we expect in a role like this? So again, you will want to consider that it's 8-hour days, 5 days a week. Okay. So this is kind of like it's a full-time job, if you will, right? And again, to the whole question of, am I qualified for this role? Really take some time to look at the JD, the job description, right? And understand whether or not what we're asking for in an applicant aligns with your skill set. You really want to ensure that, you have coding under your belt, because I do see some questions here about, oh, I was doing this, but again, we want to ensure that you have some coding under your belt, right? So do consider that. Again, we are at time. I wish you all the best of luck. And again, thank you so much for tuning in tonight during this webinar. We hope to see you at LEAP and have an amazing, wonderful rest of your week. And again, thank you to Lizette, Amelia, and Hunter for their supreme work today in getting a lot of these questions answered. Have a great evening, everyone.
Thank
Bye.
you.
Thanks. Bye.